Yes, even if you're too lazy to do it. After a full night's sleep, your brain is dehydrated and needs that boost to switch on. Then take 3 or 4 minutes to breathe deeply. Nothing else, just watch the air come in and out. It might seem silly, but that little moment of silence is like dusting off your mind before the chaos begins. After that, write down what you really want to achieve today. Don't fill the list with 20 useless tasks. Write 3 things that, if you complete them, will make the day feel worth it. For example, finish the work report, go for a 30-minute run, or call that person I've been avoiding for weeks. When the goal is clear early on, the rest of the day has direction. Also, set a fixed time to go to sleep and wake up, even on weekends. This isn't a productivity hack, it's training for your nervous system. If one day you sleep at midnight, the next at 2 a.m., then at 10 p.m., your body never knows when to recharge. But if you stick to a rhythm, it'll start generating energy more steadily. And trust me, that consistency boosts your focus more than any coffee or supplement. Make self-care a discipline, not a luxury. Because real self-care isn't a spa day. It's the daily decision not to sabotage your energy. The Stoics didn't do it for vanity. They did it because they knew that without that foundation, virtue can't grow. Epictetus said it best. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. And the first thing you have to do is take care of the protagonist of your story, you. Remember this, laziness isn't fought when you're already on the floor, drained and powerless. It's fought earlier, when you choose to prepare your body and mind to face the day. Because the one who masters their first hours masters their destiny, and the one who starts the day taking care of themselves ends the day conquering it. 2. Train your body every day. Tell me the truth. How many times have you complained that you don't have energy while spending hours sitting still, not moving at all? How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow," while watching another show on the couch? And how many times have you promised yourself you'd be more disciplined, without realizing your body simply isn't ready to support it? This isn't about weak willpower. It's about trying to build a strong mind on top of a body that's asleep. And my friend, that doesn't work. Laziness doesn't go away just by thinking about overcoming it. It disappears when your body learns to move, even when your mind wants to stay still. The body is the foundation of everything. It's the first soldier in the battle against inertia. If it doesn't get up, your mind can't move forward. Marcus Aurelius knew this better than anyone. He could have lived like an emperor surrounded by luxury and comfort. But every morning he trained his body. He did it because he understood that a weak body drags the mind towards surrender. And on the other hand, a trained body sends a direct message to the brain. Here, we make the decisions, not laziness. Epictetus said it bluntly. Every habit grows stronger with the corresponding act. If you want discipline, don't just think about it. Practice it through movement. The problem is that we've turned comfort into a religion. We have soft chairs, food delivered to our doors, transport that keeps us from taking even a single step. And then we wonder why it's so hard to get up and follow through on what we say we want. The truth is simple. You can't expect to make hard decisions when your body gives up on the easy ones. If climbing 2 flights of stairs wears you out, how do you expect to have the strength to build an entire life? Picture this. You've had a long day at work. You're exhausted, and all you want is to crash on the couch. So you do. And for a few minutes, you feel relief. But by the end of the day, the frustration is bigger. You know you could have done something for yourself, even something small. Now imagine that instead of collapsing, you decide to go for a 15-minute walk. You don't need to run or break a sweat. Just walk, breathe, move. When you come back, your mind is clearer. Your mood has shifted, and most importantly, you've won a silent battle. Laziness lost this time. Seneca recommended what he called voluntary discomfort, deliberately exposing yourself to small discomforts to train your resilience. Today, that might mean walking without headphones, doing it even if it's raining, or choosing the stairs when the elevator is right there. Simple things? Yes. Insignificant? Absolutely not. Repeated every day, they become powerful signals to your brain. And science backs this up. Studies published in JAMA Network show that walking at least 7,000 steps a day reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression and improves overall mood. It's not magic, it's biology. Laziness isn't beaten by waiting for motivation, it's beaten by consistent action. And here's a secret: the body reacts before the mind. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist at Stanford University, explains that physical movement sends chemical signals that activate the brain's alertness system. In other words, when your body moves, your mind wakes up. That's why you often don't feel like starting until you start. Movement is the switch. So, my friend, the next time laziness whispers, just rest a little, challenge it. Do the opposite. Try this. Set a non-negotiable minimum. It doesn't matter if it's a 10-minute walk or a short home workout, but do it every single day without fail. You can also use the temptation bundling strategy. Only listen to your favorite podcast when you're out walking, or only watch your favorite show after you've moved your body. And once a week, set yourself a small Stoic challenge: a cold shower, a walk with no tech, or climbing stairs until you feel the burn. At first, it'll be hard. Of course it will. Your body will resist, your mind will look for excuses. But every time you do it, you're training much more than your muscles. You're training your discipline. You're teaching your brain that it moves because you decide to, not because you feel like it. Remember this: every step, every movement, every time you choose to get up when it would be easier to stay down, you're weakening your most silent enemy. Laziness doesn't vanish overnight. It wears down through small daily victories. And when your body obeys even when it doesn't want to, your mind learns to do the same. Because true strength isn't measured in muscles, it's measured in the ability to act, even when your body and your mind are begging you not to. Tell me in the comments, what's that one small but firm action you're going to take today, even if you don't feel like it? Write it down so we can all see it. Because in this community, no one walks alone. Every step you take, we take with you. And remember this: your transformation starts with a single movement, but that first step is yours to make. 3. Watch what's going on in your mind. It all starts with a tiny snowflake, you barely notice it. I'm tired today. One day won't hurt. Tomorrow I'll feel more like it. These are small thoughts. So soft, they seem harmless. But instead of letting them go, you repeat them. You turn them over in your mind. You chew on them again and again until they're no longer just phrases. They become truths that rule your behavior. And with every spin downhill, that snowflake grows, drags other thoughts along, and turns into an avalanche powerful enough to bury your decisions under tons of excuses. The most dangerous part? That avalanche doesn't even have to be real to stop you. It just needs you to believe in it. Because the mind has a cruel trick. The more often a thought is repeated, the more true it seems. And when you tell yourself 10 times, it's not the right time, you start acting as if it's actually true. When you keep repeating, I'll do it tomorrow, that tomorrow never comes. That's when laziness smiles from the top and whispers, told you so. I was right, and without even realizing it, you're the one laying the bricks on its path. My friend, can't you see? If your thoughts are full of excuses, your life will be a collection of opportunities that never come to life. And that's the real enemy. As Marcus Aurelius said, a man's life is what his thoughts make of it. It's not that you don't have time. It's not that you lack talent. It's that you let your thoughts convince you that taking action isn't worth it. And every time they do, the weaker version of you gains more ground. Picture this. You get a negative comment at work and spend the whole afternoon repeating it in your head. You don't move forward with your project. You don't make any important decisions. You don't do anything productive. But it wasn't the comment that stopped you. It was the space you gave it. Because while your mind is busy chewing on what you can't change, it has no energy left for what you can. Science backs this up. Neuropsychology studies have shown that repetitive thinking, what we call rumination, exhausts the brain just as much as an intense workday. Observing your thoughts, without judging them, is the first step to breaking that cycle before it becomes a habit. If Seneca were alive today, he probably wouldn't be debating philosophy in the Roman Forum. He'd be silencing WhatsApp groups full of memes every 2 minutes. Not because he's no fun, but because he understood that what you mentally consume becomes what you think, and what you think becomes what you do. The mind is like a room. If you leave the door open to every noise, every distraction, every limiting belief, you can't expect clarity inside. Entrepreneur and speaker Alex Hormozi explains it with a simple but powerful practice. Every time his mind throws out an excuse, he does exactly the opposite. If he thinks, "Don't go for a run," he runs. If he thinks, "Wait until Monday," he starts today. Not because he's a masochist, because he understands that the mind learns by obeying. If every time a lazy thought pops up, you act in the opposite direction, your brain stops seeing those thoughts as commands. It starts seeing them as noise. So, my friend, if you truly want to beat laziness, start by posting guards at the door of your mind. Try this Stoic experiment. For one whole day, every time a thought comes up that pushes you to postpone something, write it down. At the end of the day, read through them all. You'll be surprised to see that most weren't real reasons, just well-dressed excuses. And once you see them written down, they lose some of their power. Also, change the way you talk to yourself. Instead of saying, "I can't," try, "What if I just try for 5 minutes?" That little shift isn't some cheap self-help trick. It's neuroscience. It activates the logical part of your brain and breaks the freeze that's keeping you stuck. You can also try adding a conscious pause before every decision. Literally stop, take a deep breath and ask yourself, does this bring me closer to or further from the person I want to be? That 3-second pause can be the difference between staying on autopilot and starting to steer your life. Laziness feeds on the thoughts you let roam free. If you're not paying attention, it sneaks in disguised as logic, as well-earned rest, or as 1,000 other excuses that sound reasonable. But when you learn to observe what's going on in your head and to stop believing everything you think, something shifts. You take back control. Watching your mind doesn't mean fighting with it. It means training it to stop sabotaging you. And the more you do it, the easier it gets to spot those traps before they pull you under. In the end, turning that mental vigilance into a daily habit is what makes the difference. Because laziness was never stronger than you. You just had to stop giving it so much power. For don't quit at the first setback. The Stoics love to remind us that character isn't forged on easy days, but in the moments when everything inside you wants to give up. And that's exactly what a blacksmith does. Picture him in his workshop. In front of him, a cold, shapeless piece of iron. He places it on the anvil and strikes it again and again, 100 times, 200, 1,000. The metal resists, bends, cools down, gets heated again. But he doesn't stop, because he knows that with every strike he's not just shaping the metal, he's shaping himself. Now think about yourself. How many times have you dropped a project halfway through just because it didn't come out perfect on the first try? How many goals have you abandoned simply because you didn't see quick results? That's what happens to most people. And it's one of laziness's biggest allies, quitting early. It doesn't need to convince you not to try, just to whisper, "It's not worth continuing," and you believe it. You start reading a book with excitement, but after 20 pages, it ends up forgotten on a shelf. You commit to exercising, but after a long day you decide it's not worth it anymore. The problem wasn't lack of talent or ability, it was impatience. Because beating laziness is mostly about learning to act, even when you don't see results right away. Marcus Aurelius left us a quote we should carve into our minds. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle, every stumble, every day when nothing seems to move forward, isn't there to stop you. It's there to teach you how to keep going. And here's the thing. The more times you push through that initial barrier, the stronger you get. Consistency isn't glamorous. It doesn't look good on social media. but it's the secret weapon that defeats laziness again and again. And if you need real proof of what this mindset can achieve, think of Thomas Edison. He failed over 1,000 times before he got a light bulb to work. When asked how he handled so many failures, he replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. I discovered 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb." That Stoic mindset, seeing failure as part of the process, not the end of it, is exactly what separates those who reach their goals from those who quit at the first bump in the road. So, my friend, next time you feel like giving up, remember the image of the blacksmith, because your mind works the same way. Each attempt, each mistake, every day you move forward, even just a little, is another strike that brings you closer to the shape you're aiming for. Try this. Think of that one thing you've been putting off for weeks, or even months. Maybe it's that book you swore you'd start writing, that course you left unfinished, or that personal project that lights you up just thinking about it. And yet you keep saving it for when you have time. Now, instead of seeing it as an impossible mountain, break it down until it's ridiculous not to do it. If you want to write a book, forget the 300 pages. Just write one sentence today. Just one. If you want to get moving again, don't aim for an hour at the gym. Do one push-up right now, wherever you are. And if that sounds too easy, perfect. That's the point. Because what builds discipline isn't one heroic day. It's many simple days in a row. And listen, you're going to fail. At some point you will. There will be days when you don't do what you promised yourself, when laziness wins the round. But that's where the real mental training begins, in how you interpret the stumble. Instead of beating yourself up with, "I knew it, I failed again," change the narrative. Tell yourself, "I just found one way that doesn't work." That little shift isn't just a nice phrase. It's a reminder that every attempt counts. Even failure adds up, if you keep going. Here's a trick that may seem simple, but it changes everything. Make your progress visible. Put a sheet of paper on the wall and mark off every day you stick to your commitment. Use a calendar where you can cross off each small victory with a red marker. Download an app that shows you, with numbers, how far you've come. The method doesn't matter. What matters is that you can see the path. Because once a day is marked, it's no longer just another day. It becomes physical proof of your consistency. Proof that you're beating laziness. Seneca said it with brutal clarity. Perseverance conquers all. And he was right. Because laziness isn't beaten with bursts of motivation. It's beaten with small, repeated decisions. With steps taken even when no one claps. With days that show no results, but you keep going anyway. And when you understand that, you realize giving up was never a real option. It was just the easy way out your mind offered you. And you're not here to choose what's easy. You're here to conquer what you've set out to do, one strike after another. Now tell me, what project have you left unfinished? And what small step will you take today to pick it back up? Write it in the comments. In this community, we move forward together, and every step you take inspires the next one. Because consistency, when shared, becomes even more powerful. 5. Take action even when you don't feel like it. Tell me the truth. How many times have you let your couch make decisions for you? How many goals have you put off simply because you weren't in the mood? And worst of all, how many opportunities have you let slip by while waiting for motivation to show up like some special guest? Spoiler, it's not coming to knock on your door. And while you keep waiting, life doesn't stop. A Stoic would never do that because for them, action doesn't depend on mood. It depends on duty. Marcus Aurelius made it clear every morning when he woke up. Get up. You were not made to lie in bed, but to act. And Epictetus drove it home just as strongly. Don't say you'll do it tomorrow. The time to act is now. The problem is we've been sold the idea that we need to feel ready, motivated, or inspired to take action. And that's how days, weeks, even years go by. But the truth is this. Motivation doesn't come before action. It comes after. The momentum kicks in the moment you decide to move, not while you're lying there thinking about it. Picture this. You come home from work, exhausted. All you want is to sit down for a minute before changing clothes to work out. Just 1 minute, you tell yourself. But of course, the remote is right there, and now the TV is on. Some show you don't even care about is on in the background. Then a new series is recommended and you think, well, 1 episode won't hurt. Next thing you know, an hour's gone. It's too late. You've got no energy, and your brain convinces you that tomorrow for sure. And just like that, what was supposed to be a short break becomes another lost day. But look at what happens when you flip the script. Instead of sitting down, you go straight to the closet, put on your workout clothes, and head out for a 5-minute walk. That's all you promised yourself, just 5 minutes, and then something interesting happens. Your body wakes up, your mind clears, and that short walk turns into 20 minutes. It wasn't magic, it was movement. And that small choice made the difference between another excuse-filled day and a day where you decided to move forward. David Sinclair, one of Harvard's most respected researchers, admitted that the days he least wants to go to the lab are the ones where he forces himself the most. Because he knows discipline isn't trained on easy days, it's trained on the hard ones. It's in those exact moments, when the temptation to quit is strongest, that your willpower grows. If you always wait for the right mood, your mind will keep being ruled by laziness. But when you act without it, you become the one in charge of your decisions. And believe me, if Marcus Aurelius were alive today, he wouldn't be saying, "I'll start tomorrow," while scrolling through Netflix. He'd be running in the rain, writing that extra page, or studying while the rest of the world sleeps, because he understood that laziness feeds on excuses, and action starves them. So my friend, next time that voice in your head whispers, "Not today," answer it with movement. Try the 2-minute trick. Do just 2 minutes of the thing you've been avoiding. If after that you really don't want to continue, you can stop. But most of the time, you'll keep going. Ali Abdaal, a productivity expert, calls this lazy action, starting with the bare minimum version of a habit, writing a single sentence instead of a chapter, doing 1 push-up instead of a full routine, reading 2 pages instead of an entire book. It may seem insignificant, but that's exactly what gets the engine running. Because when your brain sees that you've started, it stops resisting and starts cooperating. You can also try something very Stoic. When your mind says, "I don't feel like it," say Marcus Aurelius's quote out loud. Make it your trigger, your switch to get moving. And if you need an extra push, use the automatic start technique. Leave your sneakers by the door, your notebook open on your desk, or your app ready to go on your phone. The fewer decisions you have to make, the less space you give laziness to slip in. The key is understanding that every small action matters. Every step you take without feeling like it is a direct blow to the habit of procrastination. Every time you get up when your mind says stay down, you're training your will to be stronger than your emotions. And that training, repeated day after day, completely transforms the way you act. Laziness feeds on inaction, like a fire that needs oxygen to keep burning. Every step you take without feeling like it is like taking that oxygen away. It'll be hard at first, yes. There will be resistance, yes. But over time, what seems impossible today becomes automatic. You'll realize that discipline was never a talent reserved for a few. It was a muscle waiting to be trained. And the more you train it, the less you'll depend on feelings, and the more you'll take ownership of your life. 6. Organize your day like a strategist. Imagine your day is a battle. From the moment you open your eyes, you have 2 options. Improvise and walk onto the battlefield with no plan, or pull out a clear map that tells you when and where to strike. Laziness doesn't always win because you're weak. Sometimes it wins simply because it doesn't know what you'll hit back with. If you don't have structure, every interruption becomes an ambush, and every decision becomes an extra weight that slows you down. Think about how many days you've ended feeling drained without having done anything truly important. You jump from task to task, reply to messages, check your email 20 times, bounce between tabs, and by nightfall your energy is gone with nothing to show for it. The problem isn't that you didn't work hard, It's that you didn't have a strategy. And beating laziness also means this: learning to organize your time with intention so that every action has a clear purpose. Seneca knew this well. At night, before going to sleep, he would review everything he had done to see what he could improve the next day. "When night falls, I examine my entire day," he wrote. He didn't need a planner filled with motivational quotes or a fancy digital calendar. If he'd had one, he probably would have used it in the simplest way possible. Time blocks dedicated to what truly mattered. No room for irrelevant tasks or distractions disguised as urgency. And that's where many people go wrong. They think discipline means working more hours, when in reality, it means choosing more wisely what to spend those hours on. Science backs this up. Cal Newport, author of Deep Work, popularized the technique of time blocking, dividing your day into blocks with specific goals. According to several studies, this practice reduces procrastination by up to 70% because it eliminates constant decision-making, which wears out your brain. You don't have to ask yourself what to do every 5 minutes. You already know in advance. Picture this. You've got 10 small tasks on your list, none prioritized. You start with the easiest one, then jump to another, then another, and by the end of the day, none of them are finished. You're exhausted, yes, but you haven't moved forward. That happens because your mind is burning energy just trying to decide what to do next. So how can you change that? What can you do to stop wasting your day on things that don't matter? Start with one simple but powerful habit. Every morning, write down just the 3 tasks that will truly make a difference in your day. Not 10, not 15, just 3. This forces your mind to separate what's essential from what's just noise. Here's where you can apply a very Stoic practice Marcus Aurelius used every morning. Before starting his day, he'd spend a few minutes reflecting on what was ahead. Today, I will meet meddling, ungrateful, arrogant people. He didn't do it out of pessimism, but to prepare his mind. When you anticipate difficulties, you stop reacting impulsively and start responding with strategy. Do the same with your day. Imagine what obstacles might pop up and how you'll handle them. That mental preparation is just as important as any task list. Then divide your day into blocks with clear objectives. For example, deep work from 9 to 11, respond to emails from 12 to 1, exercise at 6. Treat each block like a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. It's not optional, just like an important meeting wouldn't be. And at the end of the day, do a mini Stoic review. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? What distracted me? What can I adjust for tomorrow? This pause isn't a waste of time. It's the tool that allows you to learn from each day and improve the next. You can also use a small trick to start your day with more clarity. Before going to sleep, write down your plan for the next day, just like Seneca used to do. When you wake up, you'll already have a roadmap, and your mind won't waste energy trying to decide what to do. This cuts down the initial friction, that moment when laziness usually takes over. In the end, organizing your day isn't just about productivity, it's a declaration of intent. It means you've decided to stop living in reaction mode and start living with direction. Because a day without structure is like a ship adrift. It might float, but it'll never reach a destination. On the other hand, when you plan your day with intention, every hour has a direction, and every action brings you closer to what you want to build. And most importantly, when your mind is busy following a clear plan, laziness has no room to sneak in. Every block completed, every task crossed off, every daily review, these are direct strikes against its power. Just like that, without even realizing it, you're training your mind to act even without motivation. Because you're not waiting to feel inspired. You've got a map, a strategy, and the determination to keep moving forward. And that, my friend, makes you the true captain of your destiny. 7. Review your steps every night. Every night when the world shuts down and you're alone with yourself, there's a mirror few dare to face, the mirror of your own actions. Many avoid it because they fear what they'll see reflected. because facing yourself is much harder than facing any external obstacle. But the Stoics never hesitated. For them, the day didn't end when the sun went down. It ended when they sat down to review it with brutal honesty, when they examined every decision, every reaction, every thought. Only then could they adjust course before making the same mistake again. Think about it for a moment. A man, alone in his room in Rome. The streets are quiet, the palace sleeps, yet he's still awake with a small lamp burning. He's the emperor of the most powerful empire in the world, and still, instead of celebrating himself or feeling invincible, he's writing in his journals, reflecting on his mistakes, his emotions, his reactions throughout the day. That man is Marcus Aurelius, and what he does each night is not some intellectual exercise. It's an act of discipline. It's how he made sure he wasn't a slave to his impulses. That power and routine wouldn't sweep him away without awareness. Now compare that to what most of us do today. We end the day exhausted, minds on autopilot, checking notifications or letting a show lull us to sleep. We never look back. We never examine what we did well or poorly. And then we're surprised when we keep making the same mistakes the next day. The difference isn't that Marcus Aurelius was wiser or had more time. It's that he understood something most people miss. Without review, there is no progress. Without reflection, there is no growth. And without that honest look in the mirror, laziness has free rein to keep repeating the same old script. Benjamin Franklin did the same thing, and not because of philosophy, but because of efficiency. Every night, he sat in front of his 13 Virtues journal and asked whether he'd lived by them. When he failed, he wrote it down. No drama, no excuses. He didn't do it to punish himself, but to improve little by little each day. And that daily little is what took him from being a broke apprentice to one of the most influential minds in history. You've probably felt it too. You end the day with a sense that you didn't move forward. You say you didn't have time for your personal project, but if you look honestly, you spent 40 minutes arguing online and 20 scrolling through useless videos. It wasn't a lack of time, it was a lack of intention. Or maybe this: you promised to be more patient but lost your temper with a coworker. If you don't reflect on why it happened, you'll do it again tomorrow without realizing. But if you calmly analyze it, you'll be able to see it coming next time. So now I want to propose a small nighttime ritual. Before going to bed, sit in silence for 5 minutes. No screens, no distractions. Mentally review your day like a movie. Look at what you did well, the moments when laziness took over, the opportunities you let pass. Do it without judgment, like a scientist observing an experiment. That objective mindset is what allows real improvement. You can also try something more tangible. Write down 3 things you did well today and 1 thing you want to improve tomorrow. It may sound simple, but this habit changes how your brain sees progress. You stop focusing only on what went wrong and start building on what went right. And above all, you stop being a spectator in your life. You become its editor. Another practice that can help: write a message to your future self. Something as simple as, tomorrow, when you feel like putting off that task, remember how you felt today when you didn't move forward. That sentence can be the difference between repeating the pattern and breaking it. Laziness feeds on autopilot. It grows stronger in the inertia of days that pass without reflection, in decisions that get repeated without being questioned.